Hello and welcome to a new video and a new year! 2020 is finally over. I can't believe it, but I'm excited and feeling hopeful for what 2021 has to offer. So today, for my first video of the year, I've got some ways for you to use up any leftover Christmas goodies that you might have laying around. We're using eggnog, we're using candy canes, we're using chocolate, we're using peanut butter, we're using vegan Nutella, we're using marshmallows, and the list goes on. So stick around and you will see how I made all of these goodies. They are all fudge styled, and if you look in the description of this video, you will see a link for each one that takes you to a blog post if that's easier for you to read while you're trying to cook in the kitchen. So with all that said, let's get right into the first recipe here. We are going to be making some candy cane fudge. So first I just melted my chocolate using a double boiler method. You can microwave this, but just be really careful not to burn it. Then I added in some peanut butter and just keep stirring until that melts down and mixes well with the chocolate. Then I took my bowl off the heat and just added in the remaining ingredients, which is some coconut cream. Mix that in. Some maple syrup. Then I just got my pan ready by lining it with some parchment paper, and I dumped in my gooey melted chocolate fudge. Next, I got out my candy cane and put it in a little paper bag and just smashed it all up using a spoon. Nothing fancy there. And now I'm just sprinkling it on top. And then I just put it in the freezer for a couple hours until it hardened completely, peeled off the paper, and cut it up, and you have your candy cane fudge. This is so good. The peanut butter makes it so creamy, and once I had a piece, I had such a hard time resisting just eating the whole thing. Alright, so now we're making the peanut butter oat fudge, where I used dates as a sweetener. So first I just poured my dates into the food processor and ground those up for a few minutes. It takes a while for the dates to really grind down, but they do eventually turn into a paste. And once they get really small and mealy and pasty, you know you're ready to move on. So then I added in some coconut cream. You'll find that's a theme with most of these recipes. And then I added in some peanut butter, of course, the oats, some vanilla, and just processed it all together. So here's what it looked like when I was done. And then I just scooped it out into a lined dish with parchment paper again, sprinkled it with some powdered sugar on top, and let it freeze. Now once this was frozen, I topped it with a little bit more powdered sugar, after peeling off the parchment paper, of course, cut it up, and you've got some delicious peanut butter fudge. You can store this in the fridge, or you can also store it in the freezer if you want your fudge to be extra firm. Alright, for dessert number 3, we are making something a little bit different, but so yummy. It is these eggnog ice cream bites. I started off by just melting some butter in my double boiler. Vegan butter, of course. I used the Miyokos brand. It's one of my favorites, and they do sell it at Trader Joe's, which is awesome. But if you don't have a Trader Joe's, they sell it at other grocery stores too, or there's lots of different brands of vegan butters out there. Then I added in these vegan marshmallows. I used the Dandy's brand. I know Trader Joe's also has a vegan brand of marshmallows, so I will link below the brand I used that you can buy on Amazon though if you can't find any in your area. So I just kind of smashed these up to help them melt down a little bit faster, and then once they were all pretty disintegrated and mixed well with the butter, I added in some cashew butter. Cashew butter was really great to use with this recipe specifically because it has a really neutral flavor, which helped not take anything away from the eggnog vibes we were going for. So then I poured in my vegan eggnog. Lots of great brands available for vegan eggnog nowadays too, and I did make a video about which brand was my favorite, so I will put a card with that at the top of this video if you're interested. So then I took my eggnog mixture off of the heat and I just used my immersion blender to finish blending and smoothing out everything together. Then I sprayed a dish with coconut oil so that it wouldn't stick and poured in the eggnog mixture. Time to let it freeze, and once it was frozen, I just used a knife to wedge off the sides, dump it out, and cut it into pieces. Sprinkled it with some cinnamon on top, and it's ready to go. Now for the final recipe, and maybe my favorite, we're making Nutella pecan fudge. I started off with just melting some chocolate, again in the double boiler. Then I added in some vegan butter. And then I took it off the heat and added in maple syrup again. And key ingredient, vegan Nutella, which I do have a homemade recipe for, which I'll link below, and I will also link below a store-bought version that you can buy on Amazon. Then I added in some pecans, which I crushed up in a bag first. I know, super fancy. Mixed it all together, and that was it. I just lined a dish with parchment paper once again and poured in my pecan Nutella mixture. And of course, more pecans for the topping. Then, just like everything else, I placed it in the freezer. Let it freeze until it was rock solid. And took it out and cut it up. And your Nutella pecan fudge is ready to go. Alright, well that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, leave me a comment, and I'm wishing everyone a beautiful, safe, happy, healthy New Year. I'll see you next time. Bye!